So good morning, everybody. If you do live in London, like I do, or the southern part of the UK, we're really blessed to have such glorious weather. And I must say that it's lifted my mood a lot. I'm a sun worshiper myself. And to be able to go out and to feel the sunlight on my face in these challenging times really means the world to me. I hope that you have sun as well. And if not, I hope that this morning, maybe we bring a little sunlight from the inside that can shine from you. Now, I've been teaching lots of different breathing techniques. I had a first series about strengthening the lungs. This one is about cutting through anxiety through breathing. And I was sitting this morning thinking, really, what do I want to teach? From my heart, what do I want to offer? And I realized that I want to bring together a culmination of a lot of the things that I have taught and add an additional slant, because I think that for some of us, the anxiety is growing and we need a method that is really going to help us to come back to the present moment while also providing the physiological changes in the brain and in the body to allow us to focus on the here and now. So if you've listened to other talks that I've done on breathing, it probably is a snap because you're just going to put a bunch of stuff together. And if this is your first time, it might be a lot to bring together, so just listen now. And then you can go to the Minded Institute YouTube page and you'll see all the different talks that I've given, and you can do the techniques individually before bringing them together as an amalgamation. So what are we going to do? We are going to focus, first of all, on inhaling and imagining as we inhale that we are expanding the breath from the midpoint in our body, so the solar plexus, out to all of the extremities. So we'll start with that in a moment. And as we exhale, we're imagining that the breath is kind of sinking back towards the mid area, towards the solar plexus. So it's like we're inhaling and expanding from our center outward, drawing our energy out and up, and we're exhaling and allowing that energy to come back to us in a very delicate, gentle way into the center point. And we're going to add the other aspects of breathing that bring forth physiological changes, like elongating the exhalation, which calms us down, making sure that we're breathing into the lower lungs, and also taking a pause between each breath. And very briefly, to describe why we do these different things. Our longest cranial nerve, our vagus, mediates rest and digest, or what we call in science, the parasympathetic response. And it sends messages every time we exhale to our heart, slowing down the rate of beat and the intensity of contraction. So when we elongate our exhalation, we actually reduce our heart rate, and that leads to a calming effect throughout our body. So that is one of the things that we're going to do. Breathing into the lower lungs helps to better oxygenate the blood and our cells, because our lower lungs are more permeable. First of all, they have more of those air sacs, what we call alveoli. And also, they're what we call more compliant. They stretch more, and alveoli open and allow gases through in response to stretch, right? So as we bring the breath down and elongate the exhalation together, we're providing a really powerful strategy. And then lastly, we're constantly creating carbon dioxide as we synthesize the chemical ATP necessary for energy. Right? It's one of the byproducts, carbon dioxide. And although we often think of it as a gaseous waste product to get rid of, it actually dilates blood vessels. And when we increase CO2 to just a small level, we enhance oxygen delivery. We enhance the functioning, therefore, of our cells. So as we inhale into our lower lungs, exhale long, and then take space, we're basically creating the ultimate conditions to allow our mind and body to relax through a breathing method. Now, there are many different breathing methods that will evoke similar responses, but this one is extremely gentle and very powerful. And then when we tack on the imaginal to really gain the attention of the mind when it's already concentrating on these other things, it's difficult to get involved in negative thinking, in rumination, and in worry. And so we are using the power of mind, the power of physiological change all together. And the effect is not only in the here and now, feeling more relaxed, but actually shifting circuitry within the brain and doing it in quite a potent way that will have long-term effects, especially if we continue to do this. So that's a lot of talking. And now let's get involved with the doing. And I'm going to add each bit step by step so we don't have to do it all at once. So let's all have our eyes downcast or closed. Just feel the natural breathing. I've talked lots about breathing, but let's try not to control it for a second. Let's try instead to just be with what it feels like. What does it feel like to be you here now with this breath? Where do you feel the breath? What's the length of the inhale? What's the length of the exhale? And to support this imaginal of inhaling and expanding our energy outward and exhale, letting it come back to our center, let us all inhale together, lifting our arms and imagining that the breath is moving from our solar plexus out to our arms and to our legs. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, bring the hands back down to actually touch the solar plexus, letting the energy come back down there. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bring it back down. One more time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bring the energy back down to the solar plexus, to the center point. And now let's inhale, lift up. Hold the arms. Just hold them there. Exhale. Now we're really going to focus doing this and expanding. Inhale and imagine the breath moving from the solar plexus to the fingertips and the toes. And exhale, imagine the breath sinking back towards the center. Inhale into all the extremities, expanding our energy. And exhale, the energy gently returns to the center. Inhale like this again. Exhale, it returns to center. And now release the arms down. Good. Let's just take a few shoulder rolls to release any tension of that hold. The other way. And let's just do one spinal twist. So we'll go to each side with the arms lifted using that same kind of technique. So we're going to open the arms up, twist to the right, and we're going to inhale into the extremities. We're going to exhale, let the breath float back to the center. Inhale, float back. Keep doing this on your own. And release the arms down. Come back to center. And let's now lift the arms up again. And let's come to our left. Looking over our left shoulder. Again, inhaling into the extremities, expanding the energy. And exhale, allowing the energy to soften back to the center. Continuing this on your own. Continuing this with your own breath rate. Feeling the sense that you have some control over the energy that is within you. but maybe is you. And release. Very nice. Okay. Now, I'm not going to teach you Jai breath as I do in most of these sessions. For those of you that know it, I'm going to ask you engage it. For those of you who don't, please just do natural breathing through these techniques. So I want you to continue, even though your arms are not extended out, to imagine that as you inhale, you're expanding. And as you exhale, you're allowing the energy to float back to the middle point, to the center, to the solar plexus. Continue doing this. We'll do this for a minute without adding anything else. Okay. Now you are going to inhale. And then when you exhale, letting the breath sink back to the center. I want that exhale to be longer than the inhale. Elongate it. And for those of you familiar with using Ujjayi breath, use it on the exhalation. If not, simply allow the exhale to be long in a natural way. It is so important you do not force the breath. As soon as you do that, you undo the calming effects. There are pressure receptors in your lungs that pick up forceful breathing and tell your brain that you are not relaxed, not to mention the tension in your sinuses and in various muscles around the neck and shoulder region. So you are inhaling, expanding, and exhaling your Ujjayi breath long back to the center. And when you engage Ujjayi, there's this natural attention that tends to come up to the nose. So you're going to be working slightly against that, telling your mind what it is going to focus on, cultivating attentional control. And we have the next pace. As you inhale from your solar plexus out to your extremities, you are actively doing so into the lower lungs. And if you can practice Ujjayi, it will help to do that. It will support that process. So inhaling Ujjayi into the lower lungs as you expand outward. And exhaling elongated Ujjayi as you let the breath sink back to the solar plexus. Inhale Ujjayi into the lower lungs. Exhale elongated Ujjayi as you allow the breath to sink to the solar plexus. Inhale into the lower lungs as you expand out. So it's almost like you see the breath filling and then radiating out to the extremities. And then as you exhale back down with that elongated breath, it comes back to that midpoint. You inhale from the solar plexus, expanding outward to the extremities. You exhale the elongated breath back into the center point. And if you don't practice Ujjayi, that's absolutely fine. You're just inhaling naturally as you expand into the lower lungs and then let it radiate into the extremities. And you exhale longer as the breath sinks back. So we're going to practice this way for 3 minutes before we add the last element. Really focusing our attention on these three things, bringing the mind here. If the mind does go out, remind it has so much that it can focus on. Coming back to simply inhaling into the lower lungs as you expand and radiate. Exhale long as the breath sinks back to the center point. This is what we are doing. Hear yourself breathing. Feel yourself expanding. And then the energy coming inward again. Feel the power of the edges of you, of the flow of your own energy, of your ability to have some control over it, to focus it. And now we add the last bit. This last bit, we just take a pause, a 2-second pause, maybe 3 if you'd like, between each exhale and the next inhale. So I'll guide it a few times, and then you can continue on your own. Inhaling Ujjayi into the lower lungs as you radiate and expand out. Exhale long as you sink back to the midpoint. And pause, pause, pause. Inhale Ujjayi into the lower lungs as you radiate out. Nice long exhalation as the energy sinks back into your center, arrives there fully. Pause, pause, pause. Inhale into the lower lungs, Ujjayi, radiating the energy out. Exhale, elongated Ujjayi as the energy comes back to the center. Pause, pause, pause. And again for 3 more minutes. We will continue this on our own in silence. Feel the energetic expansion, the softening, the space in between. Like each breath is a full life of growth, of things settling down, growth ending, of a pause, and growth happening again. Each breath, an entire universe. An entire life cycle. An opportunity to be completely and utterly present in the here and now, even if you weren't in the last breath. Each one a complete life cycle. A complete life cycle. And take 3 more of these complete life cycles. And then allow the breath to be natural. There is no rush to do this. There is no rush. And now, with the breath natural, usually I've had us focusing on in the ending meditation, the air entering and exiting the nostrils. But let us draw our attention down instead to the belly, to the lower lungs that is naturally expanding and contracting, or as my meditation teacher would have said, is rising and falling. Just feel that energy of the solar plexus rising and falling. And mentally note that to yourself as you feel the lower lungs expanding, saying to yourself, rising, rising. And as you exhale, falling, falling, as the abdominal comes back in, the abdominals rather. And if thinking happens, as it often does, you can simply say to yourself, thinking, 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 as you continue to watch the rising and falling of the abdomen. And maybe you still feel that energetic expansion and contraction happening because your mind was creating it. If you feel that, lovely, just watch. Notice how you attend to it. If it's more specified and you just feel a rising and falling in the solar plexus, that's also fine. Rising, rising, falling, falling. With each breath, with each natural, uncreated life cycle. You see how you're growing with each breath and then lulling back to ground so that growth can happen again in just a moment. Just like nature intended. Growing and then softening, but growing continuously. Allowing the expansion of energy and letting it fall back to a midpoint. Over and over and over again. so that we are in balance. The thinking is happening, thinking, 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 notice it. And then return to this process. And now say to yourself, I will soon come out of this controlled attention and focus, as I have left the controlled breathing. But I will attempt to maintain this awareness throughout my day. And make the conviction to practice again, whether it is this technique or something else I've taught, or something else that you have learned, to practice your breathing for at least 20 minutes every day, to transform your mind, to lead to neuroplastic changes, for now in this challenging time and beyond. Thank you so much for your practice. So I'm going to open the floor for any questions. If there are none, I'll just go outside and take my dog for a walk, get my exercise. I can hear her like this. I put her outside because I have this garden that's fenced, and I can hear her scratching at the door saying, please. Yeah, okay. So C. Elliott, it looks like you've unmuted yourself. Go
Yeah.
ahead and ask your question.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Great. You were saying that was a really nice meditation. Thank you. Obviously, you'll hear the accent. I'm from Scotland, so not as far flung as some of the other participants. But when you were saying you shouldn't force the breath, but what we are doing, we are controlling it in a different way from normal.
Yeah.
And I can't get that distinction between having that different control, like in particular with that out breath. When you're saying elongate the out breath, well, there is a not a forcing in a sense, but there's a control. But is that okay? Because you were saying if there's a forcing, it defeats the purpose of the exercise.
Well, that's such a great question. And I think it's probably useful for others as well. So there is a difference between coming to kind of the edge of being able to elongate the ujjayi and trying to make it even longer, and the control of the breath. So there is control, and that control will definitely add an additional level of pressure that you will feel. But that's different than, for example, I've heard from somebody that elongating the breath is useful. And so I'm going to try to elongate the breath as long as I possibly can to a level that's actually uncomfortable. And people specifically tend to do this on the inhalation, especially when they are trying to bring the breath down and learning ujjayi breath for the first time. They really forcefully pull in the breath, and they continue to try to expand the lungs out until there's actually stress in the sinuses and in the muscles. So we just need to make this distinction. There is definitely added pressure, there is definitely control, but we are not forcing beyond a level that feels comfortable. Is that helpful?
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah, that is helpful. Thank you. Yeah, I suppose it's just about getting that balance. Thanks. That's great, Heather. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Are there any more questions? I see there's some really nice comments, so thank you for those. It's lovely to have those. Any other questions? Are we good?
Hi.
Hi. Hi,
It's
Linda.
Tricia.
Hi, Heather.
Oh, it's Trisha first. Okay.
Yeah, go with Tricia.
Okay, great. Hi, Trisha.
Hi. Do you know, that was really nice. I've had a chest infection for 6 weeks and I've been almost frightened of breathing because of coughing. And that was really, really nice. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. I hope it helped. It's a practice I don't usually teach, that I only do myself. And as I was teaching it, I was like, oh God, I really love this. I hope you guys are feeling that too, that you're feeling almost the healing energy that I garner from this myself. Oh, you didn't have a question. You just had a comment. Okay, well, great. Linda, do you have a question?
Yes, I have asthma, for which I have Foster and Easy Hail inhalers. But once I start, and it's kind of exacerbated by stress anyway, talking too much, I find it difficult to control once my coughing starts and I can't get my breath. If there's a way of preventing it.
Linda, once what? What causes the coughing from the asthma?
I don't know. It just starts. I don't know whether it's because the stress response kind of takes over and I just start coughing and I just can't get my breath and I don't seem to be able to control it. I just wondered if I did this more each day, would that help prevent the coughing? And is there a way that I can, once I've started coughing, that I could actually help it to subside more quickly? Because obviously it's quite, quite inconvenient.
Okay, first of all, if you're coughing, probably don't do the Ujjayi breath. For some people, it can soften it, but for others, it can agitate. So if you're finding that it is causing any kind of coughing when you engage Ujjayi, let go of it. The imaginal will be very powerful for you. We know definitively that when people with asthma engage in breath work, when they have another focus, it can help to mitigate some of those asthmatic experiences. So what I would say is to just engage in really slow breathing, not so slow that it feels uncomfortable, just maybe not really slow, a little slow, doing that expansion and contraction of vaginal energy. And this week past, I had Richard Brown, Dr. Richard Brown, do a whole thing on HealthFlix, which is a service that I had launched on breathing and asthma. And he's an MD, and he's an expert in this. So I would also refer you to that for other breathing techniques. So you can do the expansion and contraction breathing from the center point with slow breathing and then look at his work, okay?
Will that be on YouTube then?
That will be on YouTube. On YouTube, just put in HealthFlix Original. And by the way, HealthFlix was supposed to end on Sunday, but it's been so successful that we're going to continue it, but just with less talks every day, because 10 talks a day has been a lot for us to manage internally. I don't know who has their hand up because it just says Galaxy A1 2017. So Galaxy A1 2017, will you ask a question? I don't know who you are. The one that has their hand raised, you've unmuted yourself, so go ahead. I can see you, but I don't know your name. Hello? Okay, maybe not. Eunice, I see your hand raised. Do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, Heather, it's just, you might recognize me. I was at your Yoga Health Alliance and I've done your the 2 hours and the 3 hour breathing, and I'm due to join you this week. My question really is about your courses. Like, I'm going to sign up for the 5-day course, but do your courses overlap? Because I'll see that you've put out another course for 4 hours and things. So I'm like, do I just need to do the 5-day one, or should I be doing the other ones as well?
If you do the 5-day course, it's not necessary that you do the 4-hour course. The 4-hour course that I'm teaching on Monday on yoga therapy techniques for anxiety doesn't have anything that isn't in the 5-day course. What I did was I extrapolated the basics, to train yoga professionals up really quickly to work with people that are anxious, because the expected trajectory of anxiety is meant to skyrocket over the year. And I'm frightened that we won't just have anxiety, but we'll have real serious mental health issues that will lead to, well, anxiety is a serious one, but will lead to some very serious consequences for people. So I'm trying for the people that don't have the 5 days or don't have the money to give them some skills so they can still work with the public. But the 5-day course will be much more extensive. But I wouldn't do both. You would be wasting your money.
But the one this week on the Thursday, is that different? Because I've signed up for that.
The Thursday one is mental health skills for yoga teachers.
Yeah.
That will have some of the same stuff and some different stuff.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, yeah, so there's a 1-day course in mental health skills for yoga teachers. If you would like to understand some of best practice around mostly anxiety and depression, just a teeny bit around trauma, teeny bit. And then the long course specifically for anxiety is 5 days long, a short one on Monday. I'm doing lots of different things because I think that mental health issues in general are something that the yoga community always needs to focus on, but right now more than ever. And best practice is important because you can teach the wrong thing. It is possible to, with the best of intentions, exacerbate people's symptoms. Yeah, and if you're not a yoga professional, we've got lots of free stuff. So you can do that for your health and well-being. Okay. Are there any other questions? No? Should we then just, should we om together but in silence? Should we do 3 ohms? Yeah? Okay. So let me just make sure we are all in silence so we don't have some crazy reverb. Okay. Okay. Inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Have a blessed day, blessed weekend. Happy Easter tomorrow. Happy Passover from Thursday onwards to next week. Be well, take care of your mind so that you can also support other minds that don't know how to take care of themselves. And of course, also your body. Be well. Bye.
Bye, thank you.